Jeff, let's keep the Super Bowl talk going. Who better to talk to than Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame coach Dick Vermeil? Coach, great to talk to you again.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Look, we love having you on. You're somebody who understands football in and out. You played in this game. Football's so much about a routine. Can you talk to us so much about how this is different this week for the teams, the preparation and the challenges to stay focused?
Well, the extra week, is great. It gives you, as coaching staff, the week you're at home, an opportunity to evaluate, accumulate, and make decisions without great tension because you have more time, which you've got to be careful of taking too much time. The goal is to have your game plan, for the most part, finished by the time you get on the airplane to fly to Super Bowl site. And I'm sure that's what both teams did. Chuck Noll told me to do that a long time ago, and he'd been to many of them. So I sort of used his advice and learned from it. But, I think it's very important to stick with your normal routine of what allowed you to get to where you are and provided you with the opportunity to be planning for something bigger than anything you planned for the entire season. So, I think pretty much probably more relaxed, a little more time, probably a little more time to detail certain things and to analyze and then realize what you have to do to maybe be successful when you finally get there to play the game.
Coach, sometimes they have the week off and sometimes they don't have the week off for the Super Bowl. Is there a risk as a coach of overthinking things if you have this extra week?
Yeah, no question. No question there is. I think my team, 99 Super Bowl team, was the only team that only had a week in between. They haven't done it since. I know that. It's not having a week by makes it very difficult to, even though you have, the big game in front of you. Every player on the team all of a sudden got family problems, communication problems, transportation problems, ticket problems, and all these. And then you're preparing for the biggest game. So I really like the week, before the actual week of on site at the Super Bowl. It gives you a lot more time and a relaxed, like I said, mental frame of mind to concentrate. But having done it both ways, there's no question in my mind having the bye, then another week gives you an opportunity to go into the game as well prepared as you could possibly be. But your comment, don't overload it. Chuck Noll told me that. He says, be careful, be careful. And I'm thinking we've all made mistakes of trying to do too much in a longer period of time. Then the game is the same amount of time. They're going to give you the same number of plays.
You talk about how you've had it both ways. The difference between the first and the second time around for you, things you learn, but also things you experience that are different. The national anthem's longer with the pregame, the halftime's longer at 35 minutes instead of 8 to 10 minutes. Like, how does that impact what you have to do?
You have to coach it. You have to make people realize it. You don't want them to be surprised by anything. And the extra time that you have to prepare gives you an opportunity to make sure you lay out your plans and discuss all the different things that are going to be slightly different than normal routine. Again, the advantage of the bye week. When we went to Atlanta to play Tennessee in Super Bowl 34, we won the NFC Championship game on Sunday, and at 3:00 in the afternoon the next day, the entire team was on the team flying to Atlanta, Georgia. Not fun. Not a good way to go ball game. In fact, I left my entire coaching staff in St. Louis. And then the ownership flew my coaching staff at 6:00 Wednesday morning into Georgia to start putting our game plans in with our players. But that we had to be there. The head coach had to be there and all the players had to be there. So a lot better, again, I'm emphasizing a lot better to have the 2 weeks before the game. Yeah.
Andy Reid obviously has more experience in the big game than Nick Sirianni does. How much of an advantage is it for Andy Reid to have gone through this whole experience and understand all the pitfalls that you're talking about? We've talked to players about the fact that just the family issue is a whole issue that if you've never experienced it before, you don't know what a barrage you're about to undergo. How important is it, and how much of an advantage is it for somebody like Andy Reid who's gone through it?
Well, we all know there's no substitute for wisdom, and you only get it by years of experience. And Andy's been there, done it, coached over 20 years, been in many, many big games. It's his advantage, I think, his advantage. I felt the second time I went, even after, it was from that year 1980 to 2020 in January, was a big advantage for me. In that, not that Jeff Fisher hadn't been there, done it before, and been in big games, but it just, the fact that I'd been there before and sort of thought about things that maybe I didn't do as well as a leader as I should have, but having been there before, it gives me an opportunity to correct that. Andy Reid's been in so many big games, championship games, and now the Super Bowls, that I think it gives him an advantage. Now Nick has obviously done a very good job, he and his staff, or they wouldn't be there. To me, Nick Sirianni maybe is a young Andy Reid. And if he stays in the league long enough, will end up being the same quality. But he's at a disadvantage. I believe that. And I think just about anybody in football. Now, what's going to make a difference is certain players on your team. They're going to make some plays that didn't coach real well, or took the play beyond your coaching, and make you and help you win ball games. And I found that true in great big games. Your great big players have to step up and make great big plays. Yeah.
You're somebody that breaks this all down yourself, the great big players making plays. How do you look at this game from the Eagles' defensive approach, with the Chiefs having some injuries at wide receiver, Andy Reid having a screen game? How would you approach this as a coach from either side in terms of the matchup?
Well, first off, if you look at them statistically, like I have in great deal, I followed them all year, okay, that the Eagles' defense is one of the finest defenses in the National Football League, if not the best. Now, Kansas City's defense, when you look at them through 17 games, is not of that caliber statistically today, because you add up the stats for 17 games. What I don't have is a breakdown the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, as they actually really kept getting better and better and better, gaining confidence and understanding. Very young secondary, and the coaching staff adjusting accordingly. They may be playing as well as the best defense in football these last few weeks. But coming into it, you would say that the Eagles have a big advantage with the overall performance of their defense throughout the year.
It seems like the biggest concern for the Eagles defense is, how do you deal with Travis Kelce? If you were in that situation, how would you deal with him?
Probably poorly, like everybody else. That'll be a problem for the Eagles, because they're basically his own team. And he really gives zones problems. The best way to deal with Kelce is intense pass rush out of your down four without, putting people in man coverage, because all of a sudden you go into man coverage and you got to deal with Jalen Hurts, okay, which is a real problem. So I think Kelce will be as big a problem to the Eagles defense as anybody on the field, and as he has been to the other defenses he played. As soon as you play zone against him, he just finds those holes, and Patrick Holmes knows where to find them. And they've played together now for a number of years, and they can do a lot of impromptu things after the play isn't operating as designed, and make a bigger play out of it. So they're going to have problems with him. Everybody has. So will the Eagles.
All right. So let's get your prediction, and then we'll get one more question after that. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Well, having been with both teams, my idea is that they're going to tie. Okay. My philosophy has been, I'm going to root for both of those teams to win, and then feel real bad for the team that loses. That's a political way to look at it. My computer.
It's the way the Kelce parents are going to feel.
My computer says the Eagles are going to win by 4 points. My computer said at the start of the season that these two teams would be in the Super Bowl. The computer said that the Eagles would be 16-1 and the Chiefs would be 16-1. It's scary how accurate it was. Now, it doesn't always predict the score, but it did a hell of a job of predicting who the winner was. So if you go by my computer, it's going to say, and it does say, that the Eagles will win by 4.
I was going to ask you if we could borrow your computer for a whole bunch of things, including the Powerball next time.
This is very, very old reports developed years ago by Bud Goody and now run by Bill Saunders just as almost as a hobby. And I've been involved in these things all year, and I used them myself as a coach in determining practice time and where to invest more time and all this kind of stuff into things that really make a difference. And first off, it's going to be tough for both teams. They're both very good football teams. And where the numbers look dominating in one area is that the Chiefs defense in numbers look dominating over the Eagles defense looks dominating over the Chiefs defense. And whether Mahomes can make that difference up or not will be dependent. And really, how good is the Chiefs defense today in contrast to over 17 other games?
All right. Well, Coach, before we let you go, the last time we had you here, you were about to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And the last time we had you here, you were about to come out with a new wine to add to your collection. So tell us a little bit about the experience of the Hall of Fame itself and being there, and then also about the wines that you're coming out, including the Super Bowl wine that I just got another email for.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, that Hall of Fame experience was the finest football experience I ever had, including all games. The Rose Bowl really, to me, at that time in my career, was the highlight of my career. And you're young and you're more passionate, more intense, and you experience that big win. And other games were close, but just in my own mind, in maturity at that time, nothing matched it. But the Hall of Fame event, when you put all three teams you coached together, 400 and something guys and people in a party after, you have an opportunity to attend the finest reunion you've ever attended, and to share your opportunities to thank all those guys who put you in there. It really makes you feel obligated to say thank you. It really does, because it was those guys and those coaches that helped you get there.
So what wine should we have that we pairs best with an Eagles Super Bowl win?
Well, here I'm in Florida. So at 6 o'clock, probably at 5:30, might have had a glass of Chardonnay. At 6 o'clock, I might have moved to a little glass of red wine, maybe a Cabernet. Okay.
All right. We got to get a Vermeil Super Bowl Cabernet ready for a hopeful Eagles win. Coach, we got to let you go.
Thank you about that.
Thank you so much for the time. We hope that your computer and you are right. And we always appreciate getting some time to talk with you. You have a great one.
Take care, buddy. Thank you.